Here we go. Welcome to the TDC Today Show communities. My name is Sue Roscoff. The Disability Channel, or TDC, is out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, showcasing abilities. TDC is committed to providing quality digital media production services, education and employment programs by and for persons with disabilities and veterans. TDC offers digital media production, video production, post-production, social media, and podcast creation, production, and support. TDC offers education and employment programming, which includes digital media courses to persons with disabilities who are unemployed and underemployed. TDC also offers community partnerships. Through partnerships and sponsorships, community partners and organizations become ability champions by supporting media created by and for people with disabilities and veterans. We are your USA team, and I could not be more excited for the crew we have in-house tonight. I am going to start out by bringing on in here Mr. Alan Holmes. You know him, you love him. He is our master connector. Alan, how are you doing tonight?
As soon as I find this unmute button, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be, I'm doing well. So thank you for having me, Alan Holmes, Master Connector. This is my temporary home. I'm playing around with the computer, so I am still on Earth, I promise you. What do you need to know? How can I be of service?
Well, I do know you're out of this world. So tell us a little bit more about your show that you have. I want to make sure to give a shout out for what you got going on.
Oh, you're talking about the Master of Connections.
Oh, yeah.
The Master of Connections actually airs on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. with yours truly, the Master of Connector, or I am known as MC Holmes, care of Mr. Kurt Roscoff and Emily Gomer. They are the two legendary sidekicks who just have really no more than sidekicks. Let me take that. The boss, they're legendary. You see, I'm stumbling and bumbling. Emily Gomer is the boss, and Kurt Roscoff, we had an amazing show this morning with Bob Holmes, no related. Let's just say he is a gentleman who did volleyball, who was 6,000. It's a large number. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go if you listen to the show this morning. It was a very interesting. He touches on some very sensitive subjects, but it's very necessary subjects. We talked about veteran suicide. We want to prevent that and lower it. Which on the 22nd of February, we want to lower the veteran suicide. We also talked about how we want to protect the children, big on, and we want to protect the children with various different subjects that he was talking about, his training, educating the world about his amazing journey. But Bob Holmes is a legend. He was in the world record. So Mastery of Connections every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific. And then, of course, we have the no card, that's where all other resources, community essence of business, and I'm the master connector for building it. But speaking of building it, there's other entrepreneurs and individuals within the planet of this great American country, the greatest country in the USA, Mr. Kurt Roscoff, I believe. I'll hand it back to you because I may believe he may have some more news and more information, but it is so honor and privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Alan. Kurt, if you want to come on in and say hello, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, better than ever, as our friend Tim Richardson has taught me to say, our friend with, corporate prayer every Friday that we do to kind of get our Fridays going off on the right channel there, tuning into heaven above and seeing what we have to do in all this mission work. And yeah, meeting Bob Holmes today, what a divine connection, to look at the crusade of, saving our youth, saving the lives of youth. Sue and I here, we I'd served 10 years as EMT IV techs in a few of our local fire departments. And, I branched off into disability services, and with our water skiing events, one of our participants from out of Illinois, you know, has a history of going up into our state, coming up into our state, Wisconsin. And the beginning of trek and water skiing went to the point of pretty much alluding to that water skiing saved her life, with a progressive, illness, and to just look at how she is now living a life of physical decline and, grappling with that and just really not liking the prognosis of where her life was going, entered into depression. And, water skiing just really added an element that just really gave her the vibrancy and the, vitality that she was looking for. And so she moved on to become Miss Wheelchair Illinois, and went to the Miss Wheelchair USA competition, and just really added a whole nother element to her life. So before I came into this show, I routinely come from a program called the Open Mind, provided through Motivation Readers Mastermind Network. I learned about that through the Daily Huddle, and this network of folks also has a couple that orchestrates for us on weekdays, the weekday work session. But today on the Open Mind, Sorrel was presenting, and he was going through, the senses, and your eyes and ears and your smells and your touches, and it really gets me into this functional space when we talk about people with disabilities, and what it does, and working around the operation of the brain, our brains. And we've got contexts, in our global marketplace that talk to us about, when we're talking mental health and mental wellness, brain health, is right there. So today's talk at the Open Mind was about, how cortisone and, how the, hormonal responses are, whether fight or flight, and, how our mind creates all these perceptions, and we're using our senses. And, so we have these human reactions, but we have our own individualized way to work with these interpretations that our mind creates, and I think very appropriate to what, a couple days ago was MLK Day. I have a dream, and I've been kind of making that a part of what my mission is here at the Disability Channel, and how everybody here knows, is I have a dream that we unite in a way that through 175 billion people has never been done before. Do you know that there's approximately, has been on this planet 175 billion people, and to this day we have not accomplished bridging the gap. It's something where I've equated it to driving a car, and you look at your rearview mirror, and they got some of these cars have a little notification. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. And that's the way I describe 6 billion people on the planet, is they dismiss the ever so possible role of people with disabilities in the whole disability community. 2 billion people. So to me, when I look at the healing on the planet, and to look at 6 billion with 2 billion to come together, and I have a dream that we become a unified, functionally homogenized world, that everybody fits together. We have global public inclusive infrastructure. Our world is in universal design. And I've used analogies like with Epcot at Disney World, experimental prototype community of tomorrow. And I said, I'm just going to shatter the Disney dynasty. I'm going to say, we're going to come back in, and we're going to create the Epcot 2.0. And it's going to be defined by people with disabilities. And in this work with our veterans community, providing television buy-in with people with disabilities and veterans to get the narrative out there, so that the perspective of these 2 billion people that I'm referring to can come out there and teach the rest of us in the 6 billion to make that connection, that mastery of connection between people of all functional arrangements and profiles, and how we're born into the world perfectly, but that we're born into a world that interrupts that perfection all day long, every day. So we need to come together in a huddle and see how we can do this a little better today. We're ever so excited for our event with the Disability Channel, February 2nd. fundraiser in British Columbia and White Rock. And it's going to be a great event. So follow all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, the whole works, to follow that. And anything you can do in January here to help us have a successful event where here in the USA, we'll be playing around with a groundhog and seeing what winter holds, stuff like that. But then we have, we're going to be at Media Row with the Super Bowl. That's going to be exciting with our 7-time Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Dave Stevens. Thank you, Dave Stevens, for everything you do. Check him out, davestevensspeaks.com. And then we have the Invictus Games. And we have a tremendous annual event that Sue and I do every year. That's going to be a little bit of a kickoff party and a watch party for the Invictus Games from our house here. And it's called Festivus. Go to festivus.now.site and check it out there. And we've got our Zoom link here. Our meeting ID is 404-058-6152. So anytime that weekend, February 7th, 8th, and 9th, come on to the Zoom. It's going to be open for over 48 hours. We're going to have a Super Bowl party and celebrate what the Disability Channel is all doing with the Super Bowl. And then we have the Invictus Games with Prince Harry. My goodness, life is good, folks. I'm glad I could be a part of it. But now we have to make sure as we do these things that we don't leave ourselves susceptible to attack. Uh-oh, Sue, what am I talking about? I understand we have an expert here by the name of Todd. What is Todd all about? What does he do with cybersecurity?
Ooh, and I know we've got a tease going his direction, but I know we got Debbie back in the house here too. I want to make sure to bring Debbie in, and then we're going to bring Todd right in to share all sorts of wonderful things. So Debbie, how are you tonight? Debbie Miller with Legal Shield. I'm so glad to have you joining us again tonight. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great. It's warming up, yay. So sun and warm is always good in the winter here in Kansas City. So it's great to be here and to share this time with you guys. And I'm excited to hear what Todd has to share with us and all the cybersecurity that we need, because this is a time where we definitely need to be watchful and prepared. So thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So Todd Mitchell, he is the owner of Cybersecurity for Biz LLC, which is a disabled veteran-owned small business. He is a retired U.S. Navy veteran and cybersecurity expert with over 30 years of experience. He is a member of the NIST CSF Advisory Board. He holds advanced degrees in cybersecurity policy, IT, and business. Todd helps solopreneurs and micro businesses achieve compliance with regulations like HIPAA, FTC GLBA Safeguards Rule, PCI DSS, and CMMC 2.0. He also empowers families to stay safe from online threats through prevention-focused strategies that build a cyber-safe culture. Todd, so glad to have you joining us here tonight. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. It's awesome to be here. I love the energy. This is great.
Excellent. Well, and I know in the intro there's a lot of pieces in there that people maybe have heard of, maybe not. And can you enlighten us a little bit on what all those pieces are? Because they are important.
Yes, yes. So HIPAA, everybody's probably heard of that one. That's what the law that tells people how to protect your medical information. And then the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, GLBA's safeguard rule, that tells people in the financial industry how they have to protect your financial information. So you're looking at bank accounts, 401ks, tax information, things like that. PCI is the payment card industry, so that's Visa and Discover and MasterCard telling everybody how to handle their credit card transactions. And the last one, CMMC, that's the government's rules that government contractors have to follow about how to protect government secrets. And so all those things kind of wrap together with the first alphabet soup one that you mentioned was the NIST cybersecurity framework, which if you're not familiar with NIST, is basically the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's a organization that's funded by the government. They have global outreach. A lot of people have never heard of it, but it's the reason why you can go to the store and buy a new toaster and bring it home and plug it in, because all the prongs fit all the outlets. It's the reason why it doesn't matter what kind of phone you have anymore. You can plug it into the USB is always going to be the same size and hook up in the same fashion with all different devices. So one of the things that they've done is set the standard in cybersecurity by getting the best practices from different organizations, bringing them all together and consolidating into one list and go, okay, this is what cybersecurity is. This is how you need to do it. And that list meets the standards for all those other industries and what they have to do to protect your information. So that's how it's relevant to us. That's the behind the scenes rules of how everybody has to protect your information.
Well, and I know, so your business is Cybersecurity for Biz. So the number 4, BIZ. Tell us, first of all, what is your website, and tell us a little more about what you do.
Sure. So my website is the same as my business name, cybersecurityforbiz.com. And what I do is I help solopreneurs and micro businesses, so like less than 10 employees. I help them get enterprise level cybersecurity while they're working from home as a bookkeeper or tax preparer or a doctor's office, or so if you're working from home as a solopreneur, you still have the same laws. HIPAA doesn't change, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act doesn't change, so you still got the same rules on how you have to protect people's information. The difference is all the big cybersecurity companies won't touch you unless you have at least 250 employees. So solopreneurs are kind of left hanging with nobody to protect them. And unless you're like me and doing cybersecurity, you probably don't know enough to protect your, and most business owners not only don't know, but probably don't want to know, So I come in and kind of act as your offshore IT department and take care of all that stuff for you. So that's mostly what I do is work with. I also have it's a bad job in the aspect that it's an unpaid side hustle of helping families with prevention. I teach a lot of tips and tricks and things on how to keep your kids safe online, cyberbullying, identity thefts, internet stalkers, things like that, on how you can keep you and your family safe. So I have a lot of information on my website about tips and things you can do to keep yourself safe that way.
Excellent. So go and make sure you cybersecurityforbiz.com. There's a lot of information on there that's helpful for all of us, not just the business owner, but for each and every one of us. And I know you had shared a statistic earlier with me about where that biggest threat is actually coming from. Can you just enlighten us a little bit there too? Because I know that was one that I was a little surprised.
It is shocking. So I'll preface it with saying Hollywood does us a bad injustice, because people watch these movies and you think that a hacker is some guy in his mom, in a hoodie in his mom's basement clacking away on a keyboard. Reality, nobody woke up this morning and decided to spend 18 hours writing code to hack into Alan's computer. But what they do is they rely on these phishing attacks. 92% of data breaches are caused by human error. So almost all of them. And the human error, there's some, spilled coffee on your keyboard, blew up your hard drive, or, a disgruntled employee steals your stuff and sells it to the competition. But 85% of that human error is a phishing attack. So I don't know, matching the 92 and the 85 together or something, but so a very large chunk of data breaches is caused by phishing attacks. So if we could get everybody to think before they click and spend a minute and take a look at some of these emails, common sense. Were you expecting this email? Is this somebody do you do business with this company? Things like that. The other thing that I would say to protect yourself against phishing attacks is learning how to identify those, but also don't necessarily do the email. If you think you got an email from your bank and you can't tell if it's for real or not, and it's telling you there's something wrong with your account, forget about the email. Go to your bank the same way you normally do, through the app or through the website or whatever, and look for the notifications. Because if there's something wrong with your bank account, they're going to get a hold of you through the website. So But I think that's the biggest thing that people need to look at, is that's our biggest vulnerability right now, is the phishing attacks. Is by far the largest single threat that everybody, and they call it phishing because it's just like fishing going to the lake. You don't go to the lake and point at a fish and go, oh, I want that one. You just throw a hook in and see what you can catch. And that's what these guys are doing, is they're flooding the internet with a bunch of malware. And if you're the one that clicked on that email or downloaded that attachment or whatever, opened the picture, then you get it. And with that being said, it doesn't matter if you're a small business, a big business, or, you know, a family, a kid, it doesn't, you know, age, you know, income, none of that stuff matters. It's whoever clicks on them buttons. That's something it's really makes us all vulnerable.
With that, then, what is the biggest thing that we can do to protect ourselves?
I think the biggest thing we could do is I preach what they call a core four. So the core four are strong passwords. And by that, I mean, not your dog's name with a number 1 after it. It's something that can't be found in a dictionary, like the word field, for an example. You can find the word field in the dictionary. If you've ever taken a PDF or a Word document and hit find, it'll come back with a word and tell you everywhere it found it in a 200-page document in seconds. That's how long it takes to crack your password if you can find it in a dictionary. There's software out there that'll match your password up against dictionary words. So instead, take you know, a 3 and switch it out, or for the E's, make them all 3s, make the I's into exclamation points, make the L's into 1s, you know, do little things like that. And now you have a word like, you know, instead of field, it's F exclamation 3 LD or something, and you're not going to find that in the dictionary. So that's the first thing. Second thing is multi-factor authentication. I can't impress enough about how important it is to use it everywhere. Social media, your banks, your utility bills, anything that lets you sign up for it, do it. Think of it as a deadbolt lock on your front door. It's there, it's free, just turn the knob. You know, if somebody knows your username and password, there's 3 billion people on the planet. Well, actually 6 now, I guess, what Kurt was just saying. There's 6 billion people on the planet that can access your account over the internet if they know your username and password. If you have multi-factor authentication and you send a code to your phone, now you're down to about 6 people that can get into your bank account. So it severely reduces. I mean, you're dropping 4 or 5 digits off of the end of that thing. So you definitely want to do that. The third thing is keeping your software up to date. You know, those Windows patches are a pain, you know, restarting your computer. But if they know how to hack into your computer, then, you know, and you don't have the latest patch, you're very vulnerable. And the fourth thing is kind of what we were already talking about, is identifying phishing attacks and social media. We call it social engineering for a reason. It's basically any way to get information out of you without having to write code. It's basically what social engineering is. It's going to go, most of them are phishing attacks. There's some credit card scams. There's some, you know, calling you up and saying they're from the Social Security Administration and there's something wrong with your account or whatever, you know, all the different types of scams, but they're all the same effect, trying to scam money out of it or trying to find a way to steal all your information off your computer.
So many things to think about here, and we don't know what we don't know, and that's why I'm so glad you're able to share these pieces with us so people can start to think about that. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know that whole 2-factor thing is a real pain, but oh my gosh.
Yeah, and if they go to my website on my resources, I got a resources tab, and if you look at that, I've got downloadable PDF tip sheets that are like 1 or 2 page PDFs. They're for all different occasions. There's everything on there from getting ready to get married, holiday shopping, protecting your kids, protecting yourself, identity theft. There's all variety of topics. They basically all tell you, you know, little things that you can do to protect yourself. Spoiler alert is, you know, my core 4 I just mentioned is pretty much in every one of those documents. So, because that's the common thread of the things you can do. But, you know, they're all just different ways to protect yourself. And nowadays, you know, in today's digital world, you have to. I mean, information is money. And you know, I mean, if you don't believe that, then, you know, how is Mark Zuckerberg and, you know, Facebook and Google and, you know, all these other companies are humongous multi-billion-dollar companies, yet everything they offer is free to the public. So they're making all their money from selling information, and the bad guys do too.
So many good things here. So I want to make sure I have a chance. If anyone has any questions, by all means, speak up and share. And before I lose track here, we with the Disability Channel, we do a lot with veterans as well. And I know you are a veteran, and I just want to open that door if you want to share a little bit about your history and let us know a little bit about where you all came from along the way.
Yeah. Well, as I'd already been mentioned, I was 20 years in the Navy on amphibious assault ships. And one of my earlier tours, I saw combat 3 or 4 times. But one of them was in the first Gulf War back in '91, and I was exposed to chemicals in 2 or 3 different ways. And we were escorting the Kurdish refugees back into Iraq after the war was over, and we didn't find out until afterwards that the whole reason why they had left is because Saddam had bombed the whole town with mustard gas. So we were touching all this mustard gas and getting it all. And of course, by then it was old enough that we didn't get immediate skin reactions like you would expect, but just breathing all that stuff, it caused a lot of, I had rashes, I had headaches, I had migraines, I got cancer, I got all kinds of things come out of that. So that's what gave me my disability rating with the Veterans Affairs. And my one, I think, thing I'd like to mention with that, if you are a veteran and you have any kind of issues, whether it's mental health, whether it's physical, whether you've got a disability rating or not, seek help. The government has, almost every government agency has programs available for veterans or disabled veterans, women, different, like they can help you get your business going, they can help you get funded, they can, there's all kinds of different, there's even one I found out that the USDA has a thing for veterans. If you do a few years in the Army and come out as a veteran and you want to be a rancher, they'll help you get your ranch set up in the middle of nowhere. So there's all kinds of different programs. If you want to open a business, they'll help teach you how. They'll help get you funded and get you going, get a business plan together, all this stuff. So I just encourage people to reach out and take advantage of some of these different programs that are available. I know there's plenty of them in all different areas, and if you need more information, reach out to me. And it doesn't have anything to do with business, but just reach out to me and I can point you in the right direction.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. That's much appreciated. So I want to pass the baton around here to see if you have any questions or if you want to share any final thoughts. Alan, I'm going to pass it your way first here. What do you think?
Well, first of all, thank you for passing it first, because as you were talking, I was hint, got on Mr. Mitchell's schedule. So if he looks down, you'll see a little strange master connector. Yeah, I did fill that out because I too, sir, thank you again from one veteran to another. Thank you so much for your service. I was honorably discharged 87 and 90. I got out 72 hours before the Gulf War started, and I never forget having a conversation with my platoon sergeant, and he said, the various phones that you're not supposed to pick up. Well, I picked it up, and yes, it was in training. Went from, anybody knows, Con, Charlie to Alpha. Yes, it was the highest level, and it was time to go, and they were ready to go, and they said, never forget a veteran. Don't feel that, because I was torn between staying with my unit and getting out. And they said, "Now look, I love you, but get the hell off my base. I'm sorry, but but don't forget you're a veteran. But stay by the phone. We may need you." And that phone never rang. But it was 5 years later, so I was inactive for 5 years. But I got my honor DD 14, and I know that part of my thought process has always been, what about the mustard gas and the CS gas that me as a 13 Bravo and all the veterans train with? So I know what you're saying, Todd, and I applaud you. Thank you for giving us the little tips for for helping veterans. We never forget the veterans. We are all brothers in arms, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, Space Guard. So thank you for calling me and having my back by sea. I love you and I honor you. And that's my kind of interaction to let you know that I am supporting this amazing journey about cybersecurity. It is something that I wish I knew about a year ago. Anybody knows me that I'm very open book, sometimes too much, which got me, let's just say, behind the eight ball with identity shield. But I look to my right and I see an amazing soul, Legal Shield. That company has my back, so I'm taking care of it, and then they're gonna wish they never sold it when I find it. But that's another story. No promises. I'll be nice. Let the attorneys take care of them. Just put out there. You mess around. See, just because I'm up here, we now have cybersecurity for biz. See, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, before I get myself, Sue, thank you for having an amazing guest called Todd. And Kurt, Kurt, he's there. He's waiting. I know he has something to say. Sue, back to you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much, Alan. And I know, like what you were saying, so Todd is there to help you stay safe before you get into trouble. But if you do end up getting into trouble and have a security issue, Debbie's someone you want to know because she's able to help out with the legal side of that. So Debbie, I want to pass the baton back to you.
Thank you. Sorry. I appreciate Todd's information and helping to get the word out of all of the ways that we need to protect ourselves, that it's not just that guy in the creepy looking person that's hiding someplace in mom's basement. Yeah, I've seen that. And while he might be, it's oftentimes not something like that. And we need to be aware. Sadly, I still run into a lot of people that tell me, oh, nobody wants my information. They can have my bank account. They can have and I'm like, no, you do not. I don't care if you've got $10 in your bank account or something else that you think is really unimportant. Your information can be totally messed up. Even something as simple as just going to the hospital. I know I take my husband to the hospital often. In the emergency room, it's amazing, even with HIPAA laws and all that, where like, are you this? Is this your address? Is this your phone number? I'm like, that's not really the best idea on ways to protect your information. But so there's a lot of things that human error, human neglect, just not thinking before you punch the button is a big deal. And I appreciate Todd's help getting that word out. And yes, with ID Shield and Legal Shield, we're certainly here to help after the fact, but let's try to avoid as much as we can, because it is really a crazy journey once you get hooked into it, the cyber craziness. So thank you, Todd, for being there. Thank you for your service to our country, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. Thanks, Sue, Kurt, for having us here tonight. Thank you.
Well, and thank you so much, Debbie. So, Todd, I'm going to pass it back to you for some final thoughts, and then Kurt, I'm going to have you with one more last final thought after Todd. So, Todd, what would you like as a take-home message for all of us tonight?
I think the take-home message would be do what you can to protect yourself, but you also need to have Debbie in your back pocket as a help clean up the mess afterwards. Things like ID Shield will definitely help protect your identity after it does get disclosed. And I say after it does, because personally, I think it's not a if, it's a when. In today's world, it's inevitable. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. I personally have had, I think 4 times in the last year, I've gotten letters from bank, my mortgage company, a doctor's office. It's like somebody's getting breached all the time, and your information is just out there. So you need to do what you can to protect yourself.
Excellent. And remind us one more time how people can find you.
Cybersecurity4biz with the number 4.com. And my website's got all my contact information and lots of information on there.
Excellent. Well, and you've shared so much with us tonight. Thank you so much for being here and sharing that expertise with us, because that's going to make a difference. Somebody's hearing us that you just saved them from all sorts of trouble. So, Kurt, I'm going to pass it to you next.
All right. Well, it's word of thanks for everybody here in the show and everybody out there watching and listening. We celebrate what we're able to do here at the Disability Channel. So, you know, I talked about 175 billion people in the history of this planet, and Jay Stoyan is the one person in the history of 175 billion people that gets the credit for saying, hey, we need television by and with and for people with disabilities and veterans, and doing this whole shtick that you just experienced us doing. And it's expanded us out to Kathy Ireland's world of Your Home TV. And we're out there on Sirius XM Radio. And we want to give a shout out to our friends over at People for a New America with Richie Honori and the whole crew out there. So we've been enjoying interviewing Richie and all these, you know, multi-platinum artists, and, you know, working with them. And then, you know, also having folks that are part of the radio industry and all these music moguls, and, you know, really getting into that industry. We really celebrate that here at the Disability Channel. And Jay, as an amateur, you know, musician, he enjoys this whole realm. And so we're all about music and sports, and getting the word out there and having this platform that we can be the clearinghouse of how the world looks like from the perspective of people with disabilities and veterans. So, Sue, thanks for hosting. Let's keep this show going and getting bigger and better every week. Back to you, Sue.
Excellent. Yeah, this is the TDC Today Show Communities, and what a community indeed. You guys are amazing. There's so much benefit that has been shared, so many good nuggets, good pieces, take-home messages that people can really use. And I can't thank you enough for giving of yourself and making yourselves available to be in that role. This is amazing. You guys are wonderful. My name again is Sue Roskoff, and for all of us here with the TDC Today Show, we thank you. Excellent. You guys are amazing. Absolutely love it.
So
Todd, how do you like our double bubble program? You come for an hour, stay for two.
You're right. Yeah, that's it. Come for an hour and stay for dinner. Yep, I love it.